And so therefore you have people that used to hide their feelings to you, and it would take you to know them a while to understand that these people are no good. Now, when you meet these people, you can automatically tell when a person is no good. You see, you can't, because the undercurrent thoughts now, they can't hide them anymore. That is because based on the energy. So now you can tell, and basically a person don't have to talk. You can somehow look at people and say, I don't like you for some reason. And sometimes you might go, well, that's a bit prejudiced, a bit unfair, but that's your spirit saying things because based on energy alone. And also, that's also to ward out, to keep you to understand that in the particular fact that certain people that have bad dispositions, or they call obnoxious they call it obnoxious syndromes deficiency. Those particular people, right away you can tell, and that's to warn you against those particular people, because that's the type of energy. What happens is this: when energy rises, it's just like cleaning out. You know, when you take a colon cleanser or certain medicine, you break out in rashes because your body is cleaning out. Well, the same thing, because frequencies is rising and your spiritual awareness is also rising, the negative awareness is also rising also. Because that has to come out. And it confronts you on things that you need to work with. Whereas before, there were certain pathologies that you might think that you were cool with people that automatically tell you you're no good. So now these things are coming out, and these particular pathologies is showing you that you need to work with these particular shortcomings, pathologies, and deficiencies. And so this is why you have people now that's very depressed and feeling bad about themselves. That's because the latent ulterior motives cannot be hidden now based on the energy. But on the one tip is also too that you can pick up on these too if you're a person that's trying to go to the right level. And so now you meet people now that you say, I just can't deal with this particular person. And on the other hand also too, because you have a high frequency, when you come across people that have lower frequencies, they can't deal with you. So therefore, you'll find out that you'll start losing more and more friends. Losing more and more people. People stop calling. You see, and basically, your own energy is filtering out the no good people around you in your life. Because seclusion is a joyous one at this particular time. It's a joyous one at this particular time, because it means that you must stay secluded and to not deal with outside influences. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean staying in your house 24 hours a day, but we're talking about a way of life or mentality to be on your guard even when you're downtown. That's something else. Check. All right. Let's see what we got here. I want to show you something here. Because this is interesting. This is in a book called Fire and Ice. Stephen E. Powers, Ph.D. Historical Structure of the Rites of Germany's most influential and modern magical order of the Brotherhood of Saturn. And all. And also that was that whole thing, but Hitler was hooked up into that. But I want to read something to you here. And this is the point, what we're saying, we have to get to this particular level. When we talk about solitude. Solitude is not locking yourself up in a house. Solitude is a mental condition that you have to try to tune yourself in, whereas you can be in the crowd and be a million years away from the crowd. And so it says, okay, the cultivation of solitude is a primary task of the Saturnian brother, and Saturn, which means the black brother, because Saturn is called the black planet. So it says, as the initiate is chosen the pathway to higher knowledge through the Saturn phase, it has naturally to isolate himself from the masses of humanity. The isolation also is not only is you going to be, are you going to be everywhere the masses are you going to be, but not only that, you don't have to shut yourself in the house like a hermit, but we're talking about a doggone attitude. So as we're not telling you to be better than your people you grew up with, you don't want to deal with them now because you're consciousness. Isolation and solitude is also a certain spiritual awareness that you're going to deal with and all. And so it says, so you isolate yourself from the masses of humanity. By doing so, it liberates oneself. It liberates oneself from a vast number of influences of the masses. The influences that are detrimental to the initiatory process, which means these influences. So we're talking about isolating yourself mentally and some of that physically too. You see what I'm saying? The initiate's need for spiritual development as humanity becomes less and less his progress. Excuse me, let me read this again. Like I said, I got to slow myself down when I'm reading. I have to slow myself down because I'll be going faster than the thing. Because sometimes, like I say, I'll add in words that ain't even there and shit, you know, just to make it sound good. Okay. It says the initiate's need for spirituality undifferentiated from humanity becomes less and less as the process accelerates. Which it means is some of you actually need to be in the in crowd, because that's that lower nature. You radiating off that, and once you radiating off that lower nature, you got to feed it by doggone appealing to somebody or making yourself look like something. Basically, you care how you look in front of people. You understand what I'm saying? So that the way a person feels about you is more important than you raising yourself up, and that's the problem we got, you see. So it says, now, it says, so despite his solitude, and more because of the point of it, he is happy in happy in a self-contained individual, because he stands more and more outside the standards of common human measurements, evaluations. You see what I'm saying? The initiate is not only able to overcome a perfect serenity of all difficulties that might arise in his life, but also put behind him all doctrines of dogma, of outmoded religions, and of the masses, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, etc. Now, we're not talking about you can't read the scriptures. It's the difference between reading the scriptures of the Quran and these type things and interpreting it spiritually. I'm going too fast. I need to drink some water, because it ain't like I can't talk. And then to go to a particular organized type of form of fundamentalistic religion. You see, and that's what we got to get out of, the organization of the way you take this particular stuff. Basically, like I say, anybody that's actually teaching you and not giving you the knowledge, so you say, well, I tell you yourself, I'm going to give you the book, so you go read it yourself. Anybody that's teaching you some things and not giving you the original way he got it from, and basically you looking to that person, you are only limited based on where that person is going to take your ass. You see what I'm saying? So it also says here that the solitude is a joyous one. It says because this particular brother, he stands outside of the society and all. And it says because he is not necessarily ruled by fashion, ruled by what you call the in crowd, or ruled by what you call the actual faddish phrase, by us being a faddish type person. So now it's key now that you have to become solitude in what you do, not necessarily saying I'm not going to be out. You got to do what you got to do, but this is the key right now, because now you're dealing with not only two different Americas, black and white, but now you're dealing with dead and alive. And the dead is vampires that will suck your energy.
Paul, the so-called apostle, admits to forging, lying, and deceiving for the sake of Christ. Let's turn to Corinthians 12, verse 16. Talk amongst yourselves. And be spent with you, though the more abundantly I love you, the less I be loved. 16. But be it so, I did not burden you, nevertheless, being crafty, I taught you with guile. Oh! It's in your Bible. Oh, we ain't even got to the meat yet. 2 Corinthians. But they not only lied, deceived, and committed forgery, the apostle fathers absolutely destroyed all evidence against them and their crimes. They destroyed all evidence of the bogusness of their religion. If there is anything that is certain about the church fathers and Christianity, is that they always seem to be afraid of too much light being shed upon them and their true history. And remember what your apostle John said in the 3rd chapter, verse 19 and 20. Let's read it out loud for all you good Christians to hear. We'll go to John. Verse 19 and 20, John chapter 3. And this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men loved darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. 20. For every one that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. Everything about Christianity and its beginnings have been buried in the Vatican, away from the light. And what did they tell you about those who bury the light, the truth? They hateth, because their deeds are evil. I myself, here and now, in all the subjects that I attempt to teach to you, ascribe wholeheartedly to John 3, that you got to come out into the light. Which reminds me that I know this tape goes down to different places, because I get calls from all over the country about these brothers and their tapes. And there's some people down in Atlanta who's spreading some vicious gossip about me, and I want to put it out to them. I think I know who it is. Now, the gossip went by way of Chicago to New Jersey and then got to me. See, they don't know who I know. And they don't know that there's certain people that's very close to me that already know who I am and what I do. Now, I ain't never pretended to you that I was holier than thou, was I? Did I ever tell you that I walked on water? And that I was all this goody two-shoes? I've been a low-life motherfucker from the beginning, right? Yeah. But I told you it was real. I don't give a shit what you put in the tabloids, just spell my name right. But if you're going to put something in there, put something in there that makes some sense. They had me having an orgy in Atlanta, in a hotel. Now, this orgy was supposed to have been going on, and the manager called the person who booked me in the hotel, said, don't want me back there again. Now, at the time, I was going with my lady, who was down there at the time, and all of you all know Sister Tassili. She and I were together for about 1.5 years, 2 years. That was it. Now, whoever it was that supposedly spread it up to Chicago. Chicago came my way. People were upset. So I'm just putting this out there to the brother or sister, and to both, who I think it is. If it's who I think it is, I'm expecting a phone call from people who going to tell you, and you going to call me. Now, the brother up in Chicago who was trying to spread it called me because I told him that I was going to put his name out there. But the brother called me. We had a nice little talk. We stopped the shit there. But you who started it, I want to hear from you too. Because if I don't hear from you, I'm going to go the way of Bobby Hemmitt. You know, I'll put it out there. Enough said. When the printing press was first invented, we read in Middleton's work called Letters from Rome, page 4, the following quote by the Catholic Cardinal Wolsey, W-O-L-S-E-Y, who foresaw what effects the invention of the printing press would have on Christianity at that time. And he said, if we do not, this is a quote, if we do not destroy this dangerous invention, it will one day destroy us.